What if I told you that the future of the global financial system doesn't actually depend on some groundbreaking new cryptocurrency or, an AI trading algorithm?
Yeah, that usually surprises people.
Right. It actually depends on what happens when you hold your passport up to a blurry webcam. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something that, well, it usually makes people's eyes glaze over.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about identity and compliance, KYC and AML. But stay with me here, because we are actually looking at the invisible engine that's running the entire new digital economy.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the ultimate bottleneck right now, because there's this massive push toward tokenized markets, right? We're talking about taking real-world assets.
Like real estate, corporate bonds, stuff like that.
Exactly. Private equity, bonds, real estate, taking those and representing them as digital tokens on a blockchain. But institutional adoption of these real-world assets, moving trillions of dollars onto decentralized networks, it's quite literally impossible without solving the identity problem first.
Because you can't just have anonymous wallets moving office buildings around.
Right, exactly. Because in global finance, identity isn't just like a checkpoint you pass through. It is the foundational layer of trust.
Right. And currently, I think we can all agree, that layer is completely broken. I mean, you know the feeling. You're sitting at your desk, trying to open a new brokerage account or sign up for a crypto platform, and you just hit a wall of friction.
Oh, the endless web forms.
Yes. You fill out the exact same forms you filled out a dozen times before. You're hunting down like a PDF of a utility bill from the last 30 days just to prove you live in your own house. It's manual, it's tedious, and it is entirely siloed.
And that's largely due to how traditional infrastructure was built in the first place. Every bank, every exchange, every financial institution basically operates its own proprietary database.
They don't share notes.
No, they don't talk to each other at all, primarily because of liability and data privacy laws. So if you do the whole verification dance for Bank A, Bank B still can't trust Bank A's homework. You have to start completely from scratch.
Okay, let's unpack this, because what we are exploring today is a radical shift from that static, isolated piece of paper to, well, programmable digital infrastructure. If tokenization is going to work, identity has to fundamentally change. Right?
It does. It absolutely has to. And the shift involves transforming identity into something that possesses 4 core characteristics. In tokenized markets, identity must be programmable, portable, reusable, and critically embedded directly into the asset itself.
Portable and reusable.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the absolute dream scenario for anyone who has spent an afternoon fighting with a PDF scanner.
Seriously?
The guiding philosophy here really seems to be, verified once, used everywhere.
That's exactly the paradigm shift. Rather than your verified status being locked in a single institution's vault, gathering digital dust, it becomes a cryptographic credential that you actually own, and you carry it with you across the entire digital ecosystem.
Okay, let me see if I can visualize this. It's almost like if traditional KYC is having to show your physical passport to a different security guard at every single door inside an airport.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Like you want to enter the lounge, passport, buy a coffee, passport, go to the gate, passport again. But this new portable identity, it's like walking into the airport, doing one incredibly thorough check at the front desk, and they hand you a VIP digital wristband.
I like that. A VIP wristband.
And that wristband communicates directly with the architecture of the building.
Yeah.
So as you walk around, it automatically opens only the doors you are legally allowed to walk through, and it keeps the restricted doors locked without you ever having to stop and prove who you are to a human being ever again.
What's fascinating here is how that mechanism shifts the entire architecture of security. By embedding identity capabilities into the assets and the infrastructure itself, you're simultaneously removing all of that user friction while actually increasing the level of security.
Wait, increasing it? How?
Because you don't need a human security guard at every door making subjective decisions. When identity is programmable, it scales globally. It's math, not human judgment.
Right. But wait, if we are moving everything on-chain, how do you verify the person holding the digital wallet is actually who they say they are? Because we can't just talk about the concept here. We need to understand how this functions under the hood.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a specific 4-layer KYC and AML stack that makes this viable. So let's dig into that first layer, identity verification. Because with deepfakes getting so incredibly good right now, a static photo of an ID is basically useless, right?
It is entirely useless. I mean, a high schooler with an open source AI tool can generate a flawless fake passport image in seconds.
It's terrifying.
It is. And that is exactly why Layer 1 now relies heavily on advanced biometrics and liveness detection. The system isn't just taking a picture anymore. It requires you to authenticate your physical presence.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, it might use 3D depth mapping on your phone's camera, or analyze microexpressions, or require you to react to randomized light patterns on your screen in real time. It's mathematically proving that a living, breathing human is actually on the other side of the screen.
Wow, okay. So once you prove you're real, the system has to prove you aren't, a criminal. Which brings us to the second layer, AML screening, or anti-money laundering.
Right. This is where the verified identity is cross-referenced against global databases. It checks international sanctions lists. It flags if you are a politically exposed person.
DP, right? Like a government official.
Exactly. A PP, someone who might be susceptible to bribery. And it also scans adverse media. So if your name is popping up in global news reports connected to fraud, the system catches it instantly.
Now, in traditional finance, I know a lot of that is done periodically. You have these massive compliance teams sitting in back offices reviewing flagged accounts months after the fact. But the tokenized stack takes it much further with Layer 3, which is ongoing monitoring.
Yeah, and this is where the blockchain's transparent nature becomes a massive advantage. Ongoing monitoring in this new stack involves behavioral analysis and continuous suspicious activity alerts. More specifically, it relies on wallet risk scoring.
Okay, I have to ask, how does that actually work mechanically? How do you score a digital wallet?
Think of the blockchain as a giant public graph. Every transaction is a line connecting two dots. The system continuously evaluates the risk profile of the digital wallet you use by tracing the path of your tokens.
Okay, tracing the path.
Let's say your wallet suddenly receives funds from a wallet that maybe 3 hops away interacted with a known decentralized mixing service often used by hackers.
Oh, wow.
Even if you don't know the hacker, your wallet's risk score spikes instantly because the mathematical proximity to illicit activity just changed.
That is intense, and that directly feeds into the fourth and final layer, which is honestly the part that changes everything. Layer 4 is on-chain enforcement.
Yes, the enforcement layer.
This is using smart contracts to execute compliance automatically based on all that data. It handles dynamic whitelists, blacklists, automated transfer restrictions. But hold on, let me play this out.
Go ahead.
If this enforcement is continuous and on-chain, doesn't that mean the digital asset itself is basically policing its own ownership in real time?
Yes, exactly. And that represents a profound structural change in finance. Let's say you own a tokenized share of a commercial office building in Manhattan.
Okay.
That token is programmed with specific regulatory rules directly in its smart contract code. If you try to send that token to a buyer whose wallet hasn't passed the required KYC or whose wallet risk score suddenly spiked because of suspicious activity, the token simply refuses to move.
It just won't go.
Right. The code will not execute the transfer.
So the token basically says, no, I am legally not allowed to sit in that person's wallet.
Yeah.
And the transaction fails.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, compliance is no longer a manual process done by humans in a back office after a transaction has already occurred. It is an automated protocol. The rules of compliance are baked into the physics of the asset itself.
Which means we need to look at who is actually writing the physics. Who is building this invisible infrastructure?
Yeah.
Because this brings us to a concept known in the sources as compliance as code.
Right. Compliance as code. It's the literal translation of complex legal and regulatory requirements into the smart contracts that govern these digital tokens.
So they replace the lawyers.
In a way, yeah. These contracts autonomously dictate who can buy or sell, the exact lockup periods before a transfer can happen, jurisdictional restrictions, for instance, making sure an asset legally cannot be sold to a resident of a sanctioned country, and verifying investor accreditation status.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The specific companies stepping up to build this out, they're literally laying down the train tracks for the entire on-chain economy. And they aren't all doing the same thing, are they? They are hyper-specialized.
Extremely specialized.
You have companies like Verifin on FIDO acting as the front door, handling that complex 3D biometric mapping and liveness detection we talked about earlier.
Then you need to wrap that verified identity into something portable. That is where builders like Civic, who focus on decentralized identity, and Fractal come in. They build the reusable KYC credentials. They take the biometric proof and turn it into a digital token you can carry with you.
And then there's the massive headache of regulatory data transmission. specifically the travel rule.
Oh, the travel rule is a beast.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the travel rule is a standard that requires financial institutions to pass certain information about the sender and the receiver to the next institution. In traditional banking, SWIFT messages carry this data pretty easily.
Right, just attached to the wire.
But in crypto, where a transaction is just pseudonymous public keys moving on a public ledger, attaching personal information without broadcasting it to the entire world is cryptographically incredibly difficult.
It is a massive technical hurdle, and that is exactly the problem a company like Nota Bene is solving. They build the infrastructure to ensure that the required encrypted data travels alongside the blockchain transaction securely, keeping institutions compliant without doxing the users to the public.
Then you have the map makers, companies like Chainalysis and Elliptic. They aren't just looking at lists, they are deploying advanced heuristics to cluster millions of addresses, mapping out the entire blockchain visually to identify illicit activity and provide that real-time wallet risk scoring we mentioned.
And tying all of these specialized services together at the asset level are companies like Tokeny, who are out there creating the actual compliance-embedded token.
Bringing it all together.
Exactly. They ensure the real-world asset smart contract knows how to read the risk scores from Chainalysis and the KYC credentials from Fractal. It is a highly interconnected ecosystem.
And why this specific ecosystem matters so much right now is because institutions are absolutely terrified of risk.
They are. Large financial institutions, major banks, asset managers, they cannot and will not operate in a space where compliance is ambiguous or retrospective. The liability is just way too high.
100%.
By proving that compliance as code can be mathematically guaranteed and automated on-chain, these builders are giving institutions the exact safety net they need to finally bring trillions of dollars of traditional assets onto decentralized networks.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
If we have all these amazing companies building continuous monitoring, mapping every transaction, scoring our wallets in real time, and embedding compliance directly on a transparent ledger, aren't we just building the most efficient surveillance state in human history?
That is the big question.
I mean, if everything is monitored, what on earth happens to user privacy?
This raises such an important question, and it really highlights the greatest inherent tension in this entire space. You have a profound conflict between user privacy, strict regulatory requirements, institutional risk, and complex cross-border rules.
It's a lot of competing interests.
It is. Regulators demand absolute transparency to prevent money laundering and terrorism financing. But users, and frankly, institutions themselves, rightfully demand privacy for their financial data. I mean, a bank doesn't want its competitors seeing every trade it makes on a public ledger.
Exactly. It feels like an impossible paradox.
Yeah.
How do you prove who you are and that your money is clean without showing anyone who you actually are?
It sounds like a complete contradiction, but the technology to solve it is actually already here, and it relies on advanced cryptography called zero-knowledge identity.
Zero-knowledge proofs. This is where the math gets a little wild.
It's brilliant, though. At its core, a zero-knowledge proof allows a prover to mathematically demonstrate to a verifier that a specific statement is true without revealing any of the underlying data that makes it true.
Wait, so you prove something is true without showing the evidence?
Exactly. Through cryptographic hashing off-chain, you can prove you are legally allowed to transact, that your funds are clean, and that you meet accreditation standards, and you only submit the resulting mathematical proof to the blockchain.
Let me process that. So going back to our earlier thought, it's like a bouncer at a bar who looks at a scanner.
Okay.
In the old world, the bouncer takes your physical ID. He looks at your photo, your full legal name, your exact birth date, your home address, your height. He takes all that data just to answer one simple question. Are you old enough to enter?
Right. Way too much data.
But with a zero-knowledge proof, the scanner just communicates with the secure off-chain database and flashes a single green checkmark. That checkmark confirms, mathematically, yes, this person is over 21. The bouncer knows you are allowed in, but he knows absolutely zero personal details about you.
That is a perfect analogy. That green checkmark is the zero-knowledge proof submitted to the smart contract. The bouncer is the automated token. The ultimate goal here is compliance without surveillance.
Compliance without surveillance, I like that.
Resolving this tension is the most critical hurdle for the future of digital finance. Both perspectives, the regulator's need for security and the user's need for privacy, are entirely valid. Zero-knowledge cryptography is the bridge that satisfies both mathematically.
It really is the holy grail. So if we take all of this The programmable assets, the 4-layer stack, the zero-knowledge proofs, and we apply it practically. If you are actually evaluating one of these platforms today or looking at how your own business might integrate tokenized assets, what are the benchmarks? How do you know if the infrastructure is actually legitimate?
Well, the sources actually lay out a really practical 5-point checklist for exactly that.
Let's hear it.
Point number 1 is verification quality. You have to ask, is the initial identity verification biometric and liveness tested? And crucially, is it reusable? If the platform requires you to scan your passport every single time you interact with a new asset, it's operating on legacy architecture.
Right, no more endless PDFs. Point number 2 is AML rigor. Is the monitoring actually continuous? Like, are the wallets being dynamically screened for risk using graph analysis, or is the platform just doing a one-time database check at onboarding and calling it a day?
Exactly. Point 3 is on-chain enforcement. This is the compliance as code check. If a wallet's risk score spikes, our transfer is automatically restricted by the smart contract. The compliance must be automated at the asset level, not reliant on a human hitting a freeze button.
Point 4 is privacy protection. Are zero-knowledge tools being utilized? Is the platform minimizing the exposure of your data by using cryptographic proofs, or are they just broadcasting your compliance status on a public ledger for everyone to see?
And finally, point 5, interoperability. Does this identity solution work across different blockchain networks, different trading platforms, and across different global jurisdictions? Because if the credential is siloed to just one single decentralized application, it completely defeats the purpose of having a portable identity in the first place.
So what does this all mean? It means we have to completely reframe how we think about KYC and AML. Identity is no longer a barrier you have to suffer through. It is the passport and the vital bridge to the entire on-chain economy.
It really is.
Compliance is no longer just a checkbox on a web form or a blurry photo of a utility bill. It is dynamic, programmable, self-executing infrastructure.
It is the absolute foundation of digital trust. Without it, tokenization just fails. But before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over.
Right.
We've talked extensively about how zero-knowledge, programmable identity is being built to instantly and securely move billions of dollars across global borders, achieving compliance without surveillance.
Yeah.
Well, if this cryptographic technology proves robust enough to secure the world's financial assets, what happens when we eventually apply this exact same blockchain infrastructure to our voting systems, or to highly sensitive medical records, or to national passports? The systems being built today to trade real-world assets are really just the testing ground. What identity model do you think will ultimately define our future?
1,